Alright, so hopefully you're getting the idea of how jQuery works. In this video, we're going to move on from seeing how we can change content with jQuery to how we can change styles. So let's go back to just having our circle. So I'll get rid of my iframe, and as a quick challenge, can you from scratch write a little bit of code that will alert hello when you click on the circle using jQuery, of course. Go for it. Okay, hope you remembered it. We start with our string, and then in parentheses and double quotes, we use hash and circle to select the object with ID of circle. You could have used div there, I guess, as well, as we've only got one div. And then we want to set up a click function, parentheses after function, and then curly brackets and a closing parenthesis at the end there to contain our code. And then it's just alert hello in good old-fashioned JavaScript. Let's have a look. Click on there, hello. Fantastic. So hopefully that reminded you the basic syntax for setting up a click function. What we're going to do now is change some styles of our circle when it is clicked. And this is super easy to do with jQuery. As you might guess, the first thing we need to do is select the thing that we want to change the style of. So again, it's hash circle. And then we use .css to change CSS. And then we just give the name of the property that we want to change and the value that we want to change it to. So if we want to change width, for example, we use width, and then we set the width to whatever we want it to be. So say 400 pixels. Let's have a look. There you go. It stretches out. So could you, for example, change the background color to red when it's clicked? Go for it. Hope you got it. It's just a matter of changing background color to red. Simple as that. There we go. So it's super simple, and you can experiment as much as you like with changing different properties to different values. We can also get the values of particular properties using exactly the same function. So if we wanted to know what the background color of a particular object was, we could find that out by just getting rid of the value of the property there. So just like we did with HTML, if we have a property and a value, then that will change the value of the property to whatever you state. If we just have the property, that will return the value of that property. So if we take a look, we could alert that whole thing and get the background color. There we go. So it's in the form RGB 01280, which is another way of saying green. So a quick challenge for you then. Can you get the width of the body of the page? So the width of the body of this web page. Go for it. I hope you got it. Remember to select elements. We don't use a hash or a dot. We just use the word or the name of the element that we want to select. So body. And then if we want the width, we just change the CSS property to width. Let's take a look. There we go. 581 pixels. And interestingly, that will change if we make the page wider or narrower. So now we're up to 1021 pixels. So that can actually be quite useful if you want to change your website layout depending on the width of the page. You can use jQuery to get that width for you and then do something with it if you want to. All right, there's one more thing I want to show you in this video, and for that I'll need my squares back. So I'm going to bring in my divs with a class of square, and then I'll just recreate the CSS for them. So we'll just change that to .square, get rid of the border radius, and set the background color to red. Take a look. There they are. Wonderful. So what if we wanted to set up a function which made each of these disappear when they're clicked? Why don't you have a quick go at attempting to do that? Best of luck. Okay, I hope you found a little bit of a problem there, because what I hope you attempted to do, rather than have a separate function for each div and give these to an ID or something like that, which is a bit messy, we want to do it in a single function. We might have tried something like div click function. So that will action a function that will happen when any of those is clicked. And then you may have tried something like div, and then to make it disappear, we could use CSS. And then you may have remembered setting display equal to none is our way of making things disappear. So that looks reasonably promising, but let's have a look and see how it behaves. If I click on the circle, it makes all of them disappear, which of course it should do, because we're saying select everything that's called a div and make it disappear. So how do we create a single function which somehow knows which element has been clicked? Well, that's actually really easy, and there's a very powerful JavaScript and jQuery idea that I'm going to show you to do this, and it is the very simple keyword this. So on the surface of it, this seems quite simple. In practice, this can be a little bit of a nightmare to figure out what it's actually referring to, but in this context, all it is, in our case, this is going to be the element that has been clicked. So it's the element that we're dealing with at the moment. So let's take a look and see what happens now. If I click on the green circle, that disappears. If I click on one of the red squares, that disappears, and obviously the final one does as well. So this is a really useful keyword if you want to have a single function that applies to a number of different elements, but then does something depending on which element is clicked or hovered or selected or whatever. Then this is a great way to do that. So I'll give you another quick example. If we wanted to just alert whether the user had clicked on a circle or a square, we could use this to do that. And there's a number of ways that we could do it, but I'll show you something like this. So if we want alert, and then you clicked on A, and then we wanted the name of the shape, then we could give the ID of the shape if it was a circle, and we'd get that from this dot attributes and then ID. So let's have a quick look about that in action. There we go. You clicked on a circle. Excellent. So we've got the ID. Obviously that's not going to work for this one because they don't have an ID. You clicked on a undefined. That's not what we want. So to get the square, we'd need to add in an if statement. So we can look to see if the ID is equal to circle, then alert that, and it probably makes sense to change that out to just be plain text. We could then change that to green circle or something if we wanted to, and else alert you clicked on a square. Let's have a look. There we go. Fantastic. Obviously we could check for classes or other ways to distinguish between different elements if we wanted to here as well, if we wanted to search for more than two different types of element. It's worth noting that this is a JavaScript keyword as well as a jQuery one, so you can use it in plain JavaScript if you want to. Okay, so now we've seen the this keyword and also how to affect styles and to return the styles of particular elements. We're going to start looking at some jQuery specific features now, and the first one I'll show you is fading content.